The second recipient of the Jackie Robinson Community Recognition Award provides all of us with a living example of the passion, courage, perseverance, and commitment to social justice that made Jackie Robinson legendary. Dr. Franklin Kameny is one of the most important figures in the District of Columbia and the national struggle to overcome discrimination based on sexual orientation. As I was preparing my introduction of Dr. Kameny tonight, I found myself thinking of some words often attributed to Jackie Robinson and some words often said about Jackie Robinson. Jackie said on many occasions and in many different ways that he never really cared much whether or not you liked him, but he sure was going to insist that you respected him. In Arnold Rampersad's definitive biography of Jackie Robinson, Rampersad recalls that Martin Luther King spoke of Robinson as, quote, a pilgrim walking the lonesome byways toward the high road of freedom. He was a sit-inner before sit-ins, a freedom rider before freedom rides, close quote. The point, of course, is that in sport, in business, in the professions, in the arts, in politics, in the military, in all human endeavors, there are those who set the pace for others to follow. Jackie Robinson and Franklin Kameny have shaped American civil rights history. They are the trailblazers who set the pace for others to follow. When Franklin Kameny began his public career more than 50 years ago, what little there was of the gay rights movement consisted primarily of frightened, deferential persons, many of whom accepted what they were told by the so-called experts, that they were sick, sinful, and criminal. Graduated in the mid-1950s from Harvard University as a doctor of astronomy, Franklin Kameny was hired by the United States government, then investigated, and then dismissed from his job with the Army Map Service for homosexuality. He was also stripped of the security clearance essential to practice the profession for which he had so long prepared. But meek acceptance was not Franklin Kameny's response. Often called the father of gay activism, this World War II combat veteran, a recipient of a number of medals, including the Combat Infantryman's Badge, could not walk away from the injustice. His 1961 petition to the United States Supreme Court argued that a federal policy calling homosexuality a security risk was, quote, no less odious than discrimination based on religious or racial grounds, close quote. This was the first time a civil rights claim based on sexual orientation had been filed in a United States court. Students of the gay rights movement in America credit Franklin Kameny with beginning an aggressive new tone to the gay civil rights struggle. By pressing for fair and equal treatment of gay employees in the federal government, by fighting security clearance denials, by opposing employment restrictions and dismissals, by opposing entrapment and harassment by police and other civil authorities, by opposing the classification of homosexuality as a psychiatric disorder by the American Psychiatric Association, by opposing the removal of homosexuals from the military, and by working with other civil rights groups to press for equality for gay citizens, Dr. Kameny was instrumental in mounting an uncompromising campaign for gay civil rights using public forums, picketing, and civil disobedience. In 1963, Franklin Kameny helped launch a campaign to remove the classification of homosexuality as a mental disorder from the American Psychiatric Association's Manual of Mental Disorders. In 1965, he helped launch the first public protest by gays and lesbians with a picket line at the White House. In 2007, signs from that protest were included in the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of American History exhibit titled, quote, Treasures of American History, close quote. In 1971, Dr. Kameny became the first openly gay candidate for the United States Congress when he ran in the District of Columbia's first election for a non-voting delegate to Congress. And in the 1970s, Dr. Kameny was appointed as the first openly gay member of the District of Columbia's Human Rights Commission. In 2006, the Library of Congress acquired Dr. Kameny's papers documenting his life and leadership. They reside in the James Madison building. At the ceremony marking the donation of the Kameny papers to the Library of Congress, Michael Huffington, a former congressman from California, had this to say, quote, "Given the wall of resistance Kameny met in the early years, it is remarkable he was able to bring others into the fight and ultimately to prevail in so many areas. Homosexuality is no longer regarded as a pathology. Civil servants can no longer be fired for being gay. Security clearances cannot be denied solely on the basis of sexual orientation. Invasive laws against consensual sex have been ruled unconstitutional." Close quote. Huffington continues, quote, "Franklin Kameny's self-respect and intellectual confidence shine from the pages of these decade-old letters. Congressional testimony, clippings on White House and Pentagon protests, and transcripts of security clearance hearings. His firm voice and philosophical grounding in America's principles remain as timely as ever. And today, the same federal government that denied his humanity 5 decades ago is embracing his legacy and preserving it for future scholars and historians." Earlier this year, the District of Columbia's Historic Preservation Review Board bestowed on Franklin Kameny the honor of designating his home as a historic landmark. During the 1960s and 70s, the home served as a meeting ground for planning civil rights campaigns and strategies. It was also a counseling center for those seeking legal assistance with issues of employment and other discrimination, and a guest house for visiting gay movement activists. Few sites in Washington, D.C. have such a long association with the history of local and national gay civil rights activism. As was said earlier, the word most often associated with Jackie Robinson is trailblazer. I can think of no better word to summarize Dr. Franklin Kameny, his accomplishments, and his societal impact. It's a pleasure for the Jackie Robinson Society to present Franklin Kameny with the 2009 Jackie Robinson Society Community Recognition Award. Franklin Kameny. Sure.
Thank you. I've been asked to keep my remarks very short, and so I'll restrain my normal loquacity and not even threaten, as I often do, to keep you here until dawn listening to me. As a longtime gay activist, I'm deeply honored to receive the Jackie Robinson Community Recognition Award. Over opposition by many, we have insistently classed our effort as a civil rights one. The particular abuses and victimizations suffered and being fought and remedied vary from one group to another. But at bottom, civil rights causes, they are all. Prejudice, discrimination, and bigotry are prejudice, discrimination, and bigotry, whomever the victims. And so it is with a great sense of satisfaction that as a gay activist, I am being honored in the name of a true black civil rights hero. I well remember his appearance on the scene and my cheering him on. Little did I think, well over a half-century ago, that I might be honored with him. Thank you very much for doing so.